Hello again. This is John Bush from the War Room, and today we've got a special gun. You might even say unique. Although when I handed it to Keith and said, that's a unique, he looked all over this gun and said, it's not marked unique. I said, well, it doesn't matter, it's a unique. So we had this little discussion about it, but I want to show you a gun that suffered from a lot of political problems. This gun happens to be from Montgomery Ward. Now, those of you who are my age remember when Monkey Wards sold handguns, rifles, and shotguns, just like Sears did. But as the politics got bad, and we couldn't say the G word, for those of you who don't use that expression, you can't say gun out in public. You have to be real careful. But back in this days, it was not a problem. Monkey Wards and Sears sold lots of handguns. This handgun is French. It's a .22. Unlike a lot of French guns, it works. It's a great gun. Now you can see the markings on this side. I'm going to show you the markings on the other side. Now you can see on this side, it doesn't say unique either. But this gun, this one happened to be imported by Montgomery Wards, is actually the same gun that Winfield Arms. And those of you who collect Johnson, Winfield Arms is a common name to you because they were the ones who sold the huge pile of Johnsons that came out of Holland. And I hate to digress, but they were real smart. The first year they sold the Johnsons that the Dutch sold them, Winfield bought them, put them in the warehouse, and started working on them. Didn't sell any of them because there was another batch coming up a year later. And if they started selling them and people saw how much they were going for, even back in those days, $169 or something was quite a pile of money. So they waited a full year, bought the second lot, and that's when they actually started selling them. Smart move. They were smart. And they imported these guns too, and those are marked WAC for Winfield Arms Corporation. Now these guns had an accessory that you don't often find. They had a rifle, and the rifle was a stock and a barrel. They replaced this barrel. The gun went into that action using this slide, but the barrel held it in. It had what looked like a tube under the barrel, which is what you push back to cock the gun. Now, I just got this gun within the last couple of weeks. And you can believe I had 2 of the special stock kits, which I sold because I figured I'd never, ever run across one of these. These are neat guns, and this one is especially nice because of the condition. Now, the French, the grips on these, the French made it out of a high acetic acid content plastic. You can usually smell it. And after a while, that acetic acid just rusts the gun up terrible. And when you find parts kits, a lot of times the grips are almost dust because of that. Now, the only feature I don't like about this gun is the mag catch. It's a bottom release like you have on many European guns, but it's a bear. You got to push that thing way back and try to get that mag out. So when you get it released, the mag will come out, and it looks like a standard .22 mag. It's very substantial, well-made mag. It's got an exposed spring, and you can pull on the spring to help when you load the mag. There's no button on the side which helps it. Now, there are mags that have a longer floor plate. They figured out that, boy, if we had something that stuck out the front, it wouldn't be such a job to load this gun. So the first magazine goes well, then when you got to reload it, it takes a little while to do it. But the test on these guns is to smell it. And for some reason, this has a low acetic acid content in the plastic. I don't know why. That's why the gun is as nice as it is. It didn't rust to pieces because the grips didn't rust it. You're familiar with a lot of surplus guns? They got wood stocks, wood grips, and in the humid countries, that wood just sucks the moisture in, holds it, keeps it against the gun, so you get rust pit. As they say, under the wood, there's rust. Outside of that, there isn't. So this was an exceptionally nice gun in the condition it is because I'd never seen one this nice. I'm used to the ones that have the rust caused by that acidic content grips. And that's true of a lot of them. And the trouble with some of the companies that have made replacement grips for a lot of these French guns with this style of plastic, the grips have shrunk. So when they make the grip, their pattern is a shrunken grip. So how well do you think that's going to fit on the gun? It's not. It's not their fault. They just can't find grips that haven't shrunk. You usually see them with the screw holes stretched out because the grips shrink and the plastic can't go anywhere, so it gets distorted out of shape. So if you find a gun like this in this kind of condition, I mean, I think I paid $200 for this gun at a gun shop here in Oregon. I was quite pleased to do it. I didn't even try to bargain the old guy down. Yes, there are guys older than me out there, and I find them once in a while, and so will you. So when you walk through a gun show and a guy offers you a deal, you don't necessarily have to beat him up, you know? A lot of times it's just good, grab it, give him the money, and run. Let's take a closer look at this unique pistol. Now on this side is the takedown latch, but for safety reasons, this takedown latch can't be applied till the slide is to the rear and the safety's on. And before we can do any of that, we can take the mag out. But I've got it only partially in because it makes it a lot easier to take out. Now, on this side, we've got the safety. We're going to put the safety on, although the safety is on, but what we want to do is move the slide back until it catches in the slide lock position. Now to do that, I'm going to have to cock the hammer, and okay, I've got it locked to the rear now. And now what I'm going to do, I can move the takedown latch. Now when I move it down, you can see there's a ridge right here. Okay, that's the ridge that interlocks with the slide. So now I can take the slide and put the slide off up slightly and lift the slide at the rear, take the slide off, take the recoil spring off, and essentially we're field stripped. Okay, and it's kind of like a Star Model F. You got a fixed barrel on a blowback gun, pretty straightforward. It has, however, a magazine safety. So I'm going to put the mag in now, put it most of the way up, and I can pull the trigger once I put it on fire, okay? Pull the trigger, hammer goes down. Now, because of the magazine safety, if I don't have the mag in there, I can pull till the cows come home and it's not going to close. So that's a fairly modern feature, although this gun was initially imported in the United States in the late 50s through the 60s, and then the politics of handguns started being dropped by both Sears and Montgomery Wards. Then they dropped rifles, and they continued to sell shotguns until even shotguns got to be unpopular with the popular press, and they just died away. So they didn't sell guns. They went through a couple of different names, but the handguns were the first to go. Now you can see on this plate, it's a round plate with that surface that we showed you when it's up. It keeps the slide in place. Now these are nice little guns, with the exception of that mag thing, and they did cure that with that longer floor plate. So you can find the mags with a short floor plate like this, and then an extended floor plate that makes that mag removal a whole lot easier. There aren't a lot of parts for these, but these guns are like most .22 pistols. They don't really have a lot of problems. They tend to function good. You may find that some of these guns work better with one brand of ammo than they do with another brand of ammo. But that's the fun of it. You get to try a lot of different brands of ammo, find out which one works in your particular gun. We haven't even had a chance to shoot this unique yet, so I'm not sure what it'll shoot good with. And we're going to enjoy trying to find that out. Now, as far as collectability, they aren't in big demand, but there is a following for these kind of guns, and this one being really nice condition, makes it worth, at least what I paid for it. I paid $200 and was quite happy to do it. And if I had the stock sets that have the long barrel, I don't even know what one is worth because I haven't seen one for sale in a long time. So I'm figuring that I'm not going to find one of those pistols. So I sold both of the stock kits. And you can imagine when I go look in the mirror now, I am not the happy camper I should be. I should be able to shoot this with a rifle kit, and I can't. And the chances of running across another rifle kit, slim and none, I'm afraid to say. But I can enjoy the handgun. I enjoy shooting it. I enjoy, I guess, putting in the safe I can enjoy too. But it's really a lot of fun. You never know what you're going to find. I bought this out of a regular gun shop, and it was, I thought, a good find. The guy was nice, made a quick deal. I got the gun, and as soon as I can, I'm going to go shoot it. So when you get a chance to go out and shoot, you try all the different kinds of ammo, because obviously some guns work better with some brands, some bullet weights, and that's just how it is. It isn't that one is necessarily better than others. It's the blonde brunette argument, and you're never going to win that one. So keep an eye out for these kind of things. I've been wanting one of these guns to go with the stocks I had for a long time. And it was only because of my new rule of, if it won't fit in the coffin, I'm going to sell it. I got called on that and sold my last stock that this gun could have gone into. And I would like to think that maybe you won't make the same mistake I did. And keep looking, because when you're at the shows or in a shop, there may be something that tweaks you to think, oh, I remember that. That's a good gun. It's worth this. I should get it. Follow through, okay? It's okay to find and buy stuff. Even if we don't know a lot about it, we can learn. And that's the thing. Through books, the internet, videos, you can learn a lot. The more you learn, the better are you prepared when you see something. And I hope you see something soon in your life. You take care. We'll see you next time.